In this one we will continue on basic CSS and we'll try to complete this 100%. Let's go to the next step. Use clockwise notation to specify the margin of an element. Okay, use attributes. That was not loaded, page was not loaded. Now attribute selectors to style elements. Okay, you have pin attributes to elements that you wish to specifically style. These are known as ID and CSS selector. There are other CSS selectors you can use to select custom groups of elements to style. Let's bring out again to practice using CSS stylers. For this challenge, you will be using attribute is equal to value attribute selector to style the checkbox. Okay, this selector matches the styles elements with a specific attribute value. For example, the below code changes the margin of all elements with the attribute type of and a corresponding value of radio. Okay, so in this page we have a form and we have multiple inputs, and now our requirement is to specifically target those radio elements. So first solution is that because these are two radio elements, so first is to use a class and second is to use input value, but that will select all the inputs. That is why we need a specific type of input, which type should be radio. Okay, so this is attribute and this is a value. Okay, that is cool. Use the types attribute selector try to give the checkbox in a top margin of 10 pixel and a bottom margin of 15 pixel. Okay, let's do this. How we can do? We can specify type and that should be a radio. And now we have to margin. Okay, let's give the margin of 10 pixel tops uh, and bottom is 15 pixel. All right. Type attribute selector should be used to select the checkboxes. Okay, we need to select the checkboxes. So this should be a checkbox. All right. Understand absolute versus relative units. This one is interesting, I think. All set and elements margin are padding with the pixel. Pixels are a type of length unit, which is what tells the browser how to size or space an element, an item. In addition to pixel, CSS has a number of different length unit options that you can use. Length unit. The two main types of units are absolute and relative. Absolute units tied to physical units of length. For example, in and mm refers to inches and millimeters respectively. Approximate the actual measurement on a screen, but there are some different depending on the screen's resolution. Relative units such as EM or REM are relative to another length value. For example, EMS is based on the size of an element's font. If you use it to set font size property itself, it's relative to the parent's font size. If you use it to set the font size property itself, it's relative to parent's font size. There are several relative unit options that are tied to the. These are covered in the responsive app design principles section. Add a padding property to the element with class and set it to 1.5 em. Okay, we'll do this later, but I want to understand what is going on. There are two types, absolute and relative units. So absolute is not dependent on anything like inches and millimeters. It's in pixel, and relative units are relative to another length value. For example, EM is based on the size of an element's font. If you use it to set the font size property itself, it's relative to parent's font size. Okay, I did not get the exact explanation, but we'll see. Soon this concept will also be clear. Add a padding property to the element with class red box and set it to padding property to the box red box. Okay, so what we need to do here, and padding should be 1.5 em. Okay, so first of all it was like this, and then it's 1.5 em. Okay, should have a padding property, your red box class. All right, now let's see. Style the HTML body element. Now let's start fresh and talk about CSS inheritance. Every HTML page has a body element. We can prove that the body element exists here by giving it a background color of black. Okay, we don't need to specify the body element. So for example, if we style the body here and give it a background color black. So what happens is, this is because all of this is a body in this HTML element. All of this is now background. Background is all black now. Okay, so this is the proof that body is present on this page, even though there is no specific tag we can see, but there is always a body. So okay, let's go to next one. Inherit styles from the body element. Okay, now we have proven that the can also be styled with CSS. Remember, you can style your body element just like any, and all your elements will inherit your body elements style. First, create a h1 tag with the text hello world. So this is h1, this is hello world, and we close this one. Then let's give all elements on your page the color of green by adding color green to your body elements style declaration. Okay, so now specify the color as green color, because even though you didn't specify the body, it's always there, and this h1 tag is inside that body. And now because we have styled the body and specified the color as green, all the child elements will inherit this property from body, and that is why h1 is green. But we are not directly targeting h1. Finally, give your body element the font family of monospace. Okay, this is interesting. Family is mono space. So now this will convert into monospace. By the way, our spellings are not correct. Okay, now let's run this. Move on to next one. My internet is kind of slow, I think. Okay. Now because inheritance is in place, we may have a child which is inherited by two elements and they conflict with their property values, the CSS properties. Okay, so h1 can't be both green and pink at the same time. H1 cannot be pink. Okay, let's see what happens when we create a class that makes text simple and then apply it to an element. Will our class override the bodies? Create a CSS class called pink text. Okay, called pink text, and of course we will be, its color should be pink. Now no, yeah, this is also pink text. Now what will happen? Yeah, so its color is now pink because the body was at a higher level and this class that we just implemented is on the root element, on this element. That is why it's overriding this style. Okay, so yeah, I want to do one thing. For example, I introduce a new element here and give it a class of pink text. Then what will happen? And I will remove this. Okay, now it's still pink because div is, in this case, is the most recent parent on h1. Okay, and green color was on body, that is why it's on parent level. Yeah, okay, what I have done, man. So for this test I have to make this div disappear and move on to next one. Override styles in subsequent CSS. Our pink class overrides our bodies tagline. We just proved that our classes will override the bodies element. So the next logical question is, what can we do to override our pink text class? Create a blue text that gives an element the blue color. Makes sure it's below your pink text class declaration. That gives an element the blue color. Make sure it's below your pink text class. Okay. Now we are introducing a blue text here, and we'll obviously give it a color of blue. Now what will happen? Uh, I don't know. Let's try. For example, I will specify class name here, and even though on the element the class name is after this blue text, but because the declaration on the um, on style sheet is blue is coming after the pink text class. That is why blue is overriding the pink text classes styles. So that is the major difference. Class 1 and class 2. So this order is not important. I mean, if you will put class 2 in front of class 1, then that is all dependent on the order that you are defining these classes in styles. Okay. All right. Next up is override class declarations by styling ID attributes. Okay. The browser reads CSS from top to bottom in order of their declaration. That means that in the event of a conflict, the browser will use the whichever CSS class name came last. Notice that if we even had put blue text before pink text in our h1 elements, if we even had put blue text before, it's still okay, but we are not done yet. There are other ways that you can override CSS. Do you remember ID attributes? Of course. Let's override our pink text and blue text classes and make your h1 element orange by giving the h1 element in ID and then styling that ID. Give your ID attribute of okay. Let's do this now. With class we are also specifying ID. ID looks like this. Leave the blue text and pink text classes on your h1. Create a CSS class. Okay. Now this is our CSS class for ID. Matter whether you declare this CSS above or below, since the attribute will always take precedence. And color should be orange. Now what will happen? This turns out to be orange now. So basically now the ordering is changed. Uh, I mean, let's do this as well. Okay, so even though orange text is defined before these classes, but because this is an ID and this is in class, and class is like a more broader term, we can specify on multiple elements the same class, but ID is for to target a specific element, which means that ID has more precedence over class. That is why ID's class is overriding here. So this one was very cool. Now we'll go to next one with inline styles. Okay, now we have uh, okay, Try to make our element white. Remember, inline styles look like this. Now everything will be override by this style. So if we will color this white, then this is overriding both ID and class, because this is on a more granular level. We are specifically targeting H1 by this ID, but this ID will be targeted from style, and, and inline style have always higher precedence than class and ID styles. Okay, so that is why its color is white now. Why am I waiting for the to always waiting to see the progress and not hitting the button, even though my internet is slow? I don't know why, but it's kind of weird now. Override all other styles by using important. Okay, so even, yeah, we have style, we have class, and we have ID, but important will override all of those styles. Let's add the keyword important to your pink text elements class to make sure that your H1 element will be pink, even though the style is also there, blue text is also there, orange is also there. But if we will put this here, then this is all the way, it's overriding all of other um, styles. Okay, this is important. uh, okay. Again, I waited for this percentage thing. That is kind of funny. Use hex code for specific colors. Do you know even there are ways to represent colors in CSS? One of these ways is called hexadecimal, or okay, we usually use the simple. This means that 16 distinct symbols like decimals represent the values. Then ABC, these like decimals, the symbols 0 to 9 represent the values. 10 to 15, although 0 to F can represent a digit. 16 total possible values you can find more about. Okay, in CSS we can use 6 digits to represent colors, 2 to each for the red, green and blue. So basically colors, this is, we are talking about RGB colors here. So first two are for red and second two are of for green and last two are for blue. Okay, you can find more information about RGB color scheme here. Let's see this as well. What is, okay, this is way more interesting for now. Okay, so basically what we are doing is red, green and blue, we are all making those zeros. Okay, so that is why this color is black. Go to next one. Use hex colors to mix color. To review hex colors, use 6 decimal digits to represent. From these 3 pure colors, we can vary the amount of each to cover 16 million other colors. All right, with these 3 colors. For example, orange is a pure red mix with some orange, some green, and no blue. So all red will be FF, and then A5. The digit 0 is the lowest number in the hex code and represents a complete absence of color. F is highest number in hex code and represents the maximum possible brightness. Okay, replace the color words in your style elements with their correct hex codes. Blue. Blue one is, okay, green. Green is this color. Orange is this color. And red is this color. So, do you know, okay, do you know what will be the code for hexadecimal code for blue and green? Yeah, yeah, just think about it. Green is here, but blue is not here. So what will be the color for blue? Okay guys, so blue will be 0000FF. because last two digits are for blue, and we are giving full brightness to blue colors. I'm talking about pure blue. Uh, Abbreviated hex color. Many people feel overwhelmed by the possibilities of more than 16 million colors. It's difficult to remember hex code. Fortunately, you can shorten it. For example, can be shortened it into. All right. So if the both digits are same, we can use single digit. Okay, this reduces the total number of possible colors to around 4,000, but browser will interrupt exactly the same color. Okay. To color the correct elements. So green text will be 00F, cyan will be 0FF. I don't know about this color. So this will be F0F. And red is, of course, first color is red and last ones. I'm green. So what is green? Oh, yeah, not blue color. This should be a green color. All right. Now use RGB values to color elements. Another way you can represent color in CSS by RGB values. Okay, RGB and then their value. Instead of using hexadecimal like you do with the brightness of colors 0 to 255, if you do the math, the two digits for one color equals 16 times 16. These will be the combinations, 16 times 16. F is, yeah, F is 16. Okay, which gives us, from 0 to 9, 10 digits, and from A to F, 6 digits. So that's equal to 16. And because we have two of them, then 16 by 16 is always 256, which starts, okay, that was something new for me. Here's an example of how you would change the body background to orange using its RGB colors. Okay, let's replace the hex code in your black's RGB code is of course this one. Okay, go to next one. Okay, so red will be RGB, red will be 255, 0 and 0. Orchard color will be how I would know the oh orchard color code. Man, come on. What is orchard? It's 218, 218, 112, 214. Sienna text is RGB. Okay, guys, we are running short of time, so I will cheat here. Oh no. Oh no. Blue color should be RGB. Red, green, blue. Yeah. So 00255. Come on, man. I again waited for the percentage thing. To change many CSS styles properties at once by changing only one value. Follow the instructions below to see how changing just 3 values can change the style of many elements. Okay, so this is a penguin. Penguin skin, gray, yellow. So how this is working? Penguin skin. Okay, so we will definitely read about this in only change code below this line. Okay, I was thinking about how this is happening. So this is, I think, part of exercise. Change the black values to gray. Black to gray. gray value to white, and yellow value to orange. Okay, that was a cool transformation. Penguin skin, belly, and beak. Penguin top, penguin, yeah, belly. Okay, actually, I want to play around with this file, so later I will look into this. Uh, Let me save this file. Touch index.html. Sorry, I am doing this here. Okay, okay, this file is saved. I will do work on this file again. I mean, this is interesting. This is done with only CSS and HTML. There is no JavaScript or anything fancy here. Even not the CSS3 or HTML5. So that is why I want to play around with this later. Submit and go to next challenge. Right. Create a custom CSS variable. Okay, we are talking about this. Now, to create a CSS variable, you just need to give it a name with 2 hyphens in front of it and assign it a value like this. How am I supposed to do this? To create a CSS variable, you just need to give it a name with 2 hyphens in front of it and assign it a value like this. This will create a variable name and assign it value. Now you can use that variable elsewhere in your okay. Sorry. Create a variable. Okay, we can create this in our class um, here, like penguin, for example, skin. Okay, and give it a gray value. Now what we can do is use this variable in child classes, right? And give it a value of gray. Let me see. Okay, for now this is only the test. I hope in next exercise we will be using this. Use a custom variable. Okay, value. Background. So variables value we can get like this. Okay. Skin variable to the background property of penguin top, penguin bottom, and right hand and left hand classes. Okay, penguin top is we want to use uh, penguin top is class variable. Okay, penguin gray. All right. So it's inheriting this variable from its parent class, and we can, by using this var, we can use variables. Okay, that was cool. Penguin bottom should also be uh, penguin skin, I guess. No. Okay, we have to use skin here. Skin, yeah. So variable name was skin, not gray. And now use variable value here, penguin and skin. Yeah, right and left. Okay. Oh my god, a lot of typing. All right, good. That was really cool. Okay, CSS variables, very useful. Attach a fallback value to a CSS variable. You can attach a fall. Okay, if the variable is not assigned, value is not assigned, then we can use a default value. Okay, penguin skin black. Okay, it looks like there is a problem with the CS variables applied to penguin top and penguin bottom. Penguin skin. Okay, this is misspelled here. All right. Rather than fix the typo, add a fallback value to black. So how we can do that? We can do that like this. Awesome. Just awesome. Penguin top and penguin bottom. Bottom is also black. It's awesome, man. And literally this is something new for me. No regrets. Oh, I haven't used CSS variables before. It's weird. I'm a web developer. Improved capability with browser fallbacks. When working with CSS, you will likely run into browser compatibility issue at some point. This is why it's important to provide browser fallbacks to avoid potential problems. Okay, when your browser passes the CSS of web page, it ignores any property that does not recognize or support. For example, if you use CSS variable to assign a background color on a site, uh, CSS variables. In that case, the browser will use whatever value it has for that property. If it can't find any other value set for that property, it will revert to the default value, which is typically not ideal. Okay. Browser fallback. It's as easy as providing another more widely supported value immediately before your declaration. That way, an older browser will have something to fall back on, while a newer browser will just interpret whatever class declaration is being used to set the property of. Let's improve our browser compatibility by adding background declaration right before the exiting declaration and set its value to red. Being used to Let's improve our browser compatibility by adding another background declaration. Okay, so this will not work on, for example, on a browser, Internet Explorer, for instance. Uh, then this value will be used. All right, cool. Should include a fallback with background set to red immediately before the exiting background declaration. Okay, so we have to define this before variable value, because otherwise this will be this value will be override by this will override this value, this background's value. Okay, and that will cause problem on the normal browser as well, because this will always be red and not will use this variable value. Now what's happening is background color, set background color to red, and if in a browser we support variables, then use this one. Okay, if variable is not there, then background will be red. Okay, inherit CSS variables. When you create a variable, it is important for you to use inside the selector in which you create it. It also is available in any of other their selectors descend. This happens because CSS, just like ordinary properties. To make sure of inheritance, CSS variables are often defined in the root element. To make use of CSS variables are often defined in the root element. Pseudo selector that matches the root element of the document, usually HTML element. By creating your variables in root, they will be available globally and can be accessed from any other. Okay, define a variable in the root selector and give it the value pink. You can then see the variable is inherited in all of the child elements. Use it, get pink backgrounds. Okay, so penguin belly. and this is pink. Okay, the variable is inherited and that all the child elements which use it get pink backgrounds. Okay, used by multiple of them. So go to next one. Change a variable for a specific area. When you create a variable in root, they will set the value of that variable for the whole page. You can then override these variables by setting them again within a specific element. Okay, so if it's defined in root and you want to change the value of it, then you can do that in the child class. So for example, we will be changing penguin belly to a white color. Okay, so this root's belly color, which was pink, is overridden by this class because this class is child of uh, this root element. Root will be on HTML. Okay, I think the last one. Use media query to change a variable. For instance, when your screen is small or larger than your media query breakpoint, you can change the value of variable and it will apply its styles wherever it is used. Okay, so media queries, we have not covered them yet, but that is used for different screen sizes and we can change the values in each media query. Okay, in root selector of the media query changes to penguin size so penguin size is redefined and give a value of 200 pixel. So penguin size here is 300 pixel, and if I will change this to penguin size 200 pixel, what will happen? Because this width is uh, less than 350, so the penguin size is changed. Okay, and if we can move this out of 350, now it's 300 pixel. Okay, and now we will see that, yeah, this is the breaking point, this one. Okay, I hope it's making sense. Root should assign the variable to black. Okay, we have to update this one as well. Penguin size should be now. No, penguin. Skin. Skin should be black, I think. Yeah, black. Okay, so now you will see on breaking point it's gray and here it's black. All right. Okay, so this is 100% complete and yeah, we'll see you in the next video.